friends, it's Amanda here with Mettle Modern Design, coming to you live tonight on behalf of our friends at Essential Stencil. It's a Monday night stencil night, and so we're going to be using a stencil to create something fun and spooky for Halloween. This particular stencil, it's the Spiderweb lace stencil, and it has a large one and then a small one. We're going to be using the small one tonight, and I've got it linked for you if you would like to take a look at it. And we're going to be using this on a frame. Now, this is a frame that I got from over at Deep South Shelling. It is pretty wholesome, but I like the shape of it for a Halloween design. But being pure white like this, I want it to be just a little something different from my spooky, scary Halloween design. This color is just ink from Waverly, and I get these at Walmart. Okay, I want it to be straight, so we'll put that down. And like I said, the most tedious process of this is just going to be moving this little stencil around a little bit. So I'm just going to lift up a little bit of paint, and we're going to offload it. And I'll start right here in the corner. I'm going to continue off to the side here. Now, I'm not sure that this is like a repeating pattern, so I'll have to be careful about where I end and where I start again, so it's not so obvious. I really can't tell if it's repeating. I don't think it is. We also don't necessarily have to put it all over the whole piece, but let me show you kind of how it's looking right off the bat. And so I'm going to dry it up a bit so when we lay the stencil back down, we don't have any issues. Matches that, like here. Okay, let's lift it off. So if you have any like crossover where it's kind of layered over itself or anything, when you first pull this away, it's the only thing you're going to notice because it's the only thing your eye has to focus on. Once you get the whole piece on here, even if there's any part of any kind of imperfection, you won't really notice it because there's going to be so much else to focus on. I hope that makes sense. Like when there's nothing else to focus on, your eye will find any imperfection. And when there's other things to look at, your eye will look at other things. Okay, we're getting there. We're going to check the back of the stencil again. There's a little bleed right there, but it's mostly dry, so we should be good. Okay, let's come back to the bottom down here. Kind of positioned him like this, so we can come up kind of like that right there. Stencil, offload. Okay. We've just got one little section left, and we should be ready to rock and roll with our glass and resin design. Have you guys ever done this? You can find. And so this is how, even when it's not a repeating pattern, you can find similar elements to line things up to, and it just kind of works. And so now we just have a frame that's just a bit more themed for our project. Okay, and then we're just going to create a design, something kind of whimsical and spooky of sorts. I think I'm going to start with a little bit of the onyx crushed shell, and we're just going to kind of put this down here. And I've even got this little fence, and this is part of like a, I don't know if it's a train set or like a spooky village set. You can get these at the craft stores or at the Dollar Tree, and I just clip out what I want and I don't want. So maybe I'll move our little fence over a little, back this off. I'm gonna go ahead and put in our background glass, and for this we're gonna use gray. I'll just kind of bring this back down in the corner here. I wanna get my scarecrow in there, and I think we're going to go with the brighter scarecrow. And so I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me move this up a little bit. Tombstone. Then I'm going to take this little seashell moon that I made here. I'm just going to kind of spread apart my glass and kind of put it down on the frame and let the glass come around it. And then I've got this little wooden bat. I just painted it. It was just natural color. I just painted it black. And we're just going to kind of lay that right over the moon, and it's kind of 3D. Okay, so I think that's good. We're going to go with this. So let me pull out what we need for the resin. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a cup and a stick. I'm going to pull out a 2-ounce pack of resin. Now my surface is prepped over here, so I just want to make sure I point that out. I've got a mat underneath my paper, so I don't have to worry about ruining my desk. This is going to be 2 ounces of resin, but this is not going to take us 2 ounces. Okay, so we'll tuck that in right there, and then we'll take our stick and we'll stir for 3 full minutes. This is a full 3-minute mix, so we mix it full 3 minutes. We get it down and we let it cure overnight. We can come back tomorrow. It will be dry sort of to the touch. You can hang it on the wall. It'll be fully cured in about 72 hours. And so we're just going to drizzle. So we're going to come right around here. We're just going to drizzle right up to the edge. And I'll resin right over our bat and our moon. Our moon is actually seashell. So we used about 1 ounce of resin. Not too shabby. Now we're going to hit it with just a little bit of heat to pop any bubbles. And tomorrow, I'll be able to take pictures of this for you because I'll be able to hang it up on the wall and manipulate it. And we'll be able to see how it turned out. I think it's going to be lovely. And so again, I used the Spiderweb stencil. We used the smaller version. It's got crows and bats and it's just a lot of fun. We stenciled our frame so it would look a little more spooky and a little more theme appropriate. I grabbed a little scarecrow from Deep South Shelling, the gray glass from Deep South Shelling, the onyx and the onyx shell and the amber glass are from Deep South Shelling. Some of these other elements I picked up just at the craft stores. You can grab things like this at the Dollar Tree or Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Well, not really Hobby Lobby because they don't do Halloween, but they do fall. And so then we just create a scene. And this is just, you know, a Glassscape. And we've just created just a little slice of life. So let me take my gloves off. Let me lift this up and I'll show you what we've created. And I think this stencil just added a whole lot to the piece. I don't want to move it too much because the resin is wet. But come tomorrow morning when I come into work, I'll be able to lift this up, hang it up, and take some photos with it. And I will make sure I get those posted for you first thing in the morning. So look, I hope that you enjoyed this. I think that you can find some thrift store frames to do this with. If you want to grab my frames over at Deep South Shelling, you can. But one of the keys is finding a really cool pattern stencil to just make it a little extra special. There's a couple of other stencil sets, and I don't have them nearby right now, that have really cool patterns that you could use as well. I just thought this one was pretty cool with its bats and crows and whatnot. So that's what I had for you gals tonight. Okay, well that's it, friends. I hope you have a fantastic evening, and I will see you next week. Bye now.